feel so terrible. I apologize like left and right to Wyatt because I just felt so terrible. Good morning. So it is 8:40, 8:35 in the morning. I'm on my way to a 9 o'clock kickboxing class. I was gonna drop Wyatt off at school and then go to kickboxing class, but Wyatt actually didn't go to school today. If you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, he had an incident at school where he was going up a slide instead of down a slide, which I try to teach my kids, you do not go up a slide. I don't know what it is about school, but it's like everything you taught them in the 5 years they're at home with you just goes out the window when they go to school and are by themselves. He was going up the slide and a bunch of kids came down while he was going up, and he got knocked off the slide and landed on his arm funky. And this was like around lunchtime, and we were all at the zoo. I had the kids that I watch and my daughter at the zoo with my mom, and I got a phone call, and so we rushed over there as fast as we could and picked him up. At first I thought it was his elbow, because as you guys know, he gets his elbow dislocates really easily in his left arm, or his right arm, like super easy. We've actually learned how to put it back in place because that's how many times he's dislocated it, and the ER doctor was just like, this is how you fix it, stop coming in here. I don't know. So we thought it was his elbow, and then we got in here, he was holding his right wrist, or his left wrist, and he said he couldn't move it, and he was just like really, really upset. So just to rule out anything bad, like fractures or whatever, we took him to the emergency room last night. The doctor didn't seem to be concerned. She said that, you know, they took 3 x-rays, they couldn't find anything. We're gonna keep an eye on him. He woke up this morning, he woke up 3 times last night screaming. And as you guys know, he gets night terrors. So anytime he's got a really hard day, he usually has like a nightmare, and it's really hard to like fix him or wake him up. Anyway, so he had a night terror, and then he kept waking up saying his arm was hurting, and then finally this morning, when we woke him up to get him ready for school, he just, like, any type of touching him or moving him, he just freaked out. So we kept him home from school today. We don't want to have to just turn around and go pick him up again in an hour because because he's being inconsolable and crying. So I don't know. With a child that young who who can't really communicate with you what exactly hurts, where it hurts, how much it hurts, it's really hard to tell how serious it is. ER visits are not cheap. It wastes the doctor's time. X-rays aren't cheap, doctor's appointments aren't cheap. You want to take the best care of your child as you can, but also you draw that line of like overreacting and then actually hurt. So I do believe that he is in pain. I just don't know what exactly or how far to go with it. I'm trying to, be a good parent, but at the same time be, aware that I don't want him to just be melodramatic and overdramatic, or whatever the word is, over every little thing. So I am going to take him to the doctor though, just because he does say it's worse, and I just don't want to miss anything because he's so young. So that's what happened yesterday. So I also mentioned an incident that happened in my last day in the life video about how he had a hard day last Friday. A lot of you guys asked me what that was, and it wasn't, I don't know how to explain it without people being like, oh my gosh, you should pull your kid from that school. Because I've already had people tell me that I should homeschool my kid and message me and tell me that they're concerned and I should homeschool my kid. And I appreciate people's concern, but at the same time, it's my child. I trust the school. I've sent my daughter there for years. I love the administrators. They did everything correctly. Each time that I've been called in twice now. They're just amazing. They're amazing. It's a small school and I love it. And I do think sometimes it's the school's fault and sometimes it can be a kid's fault, but in these instances, it wasn't the school's fault and it wasn't the kid's fault. And I feel like so often people are so quick to blame something else or someone else, instead of just accepting that that's life, or that's just, things happen, or maybe it was your own kid's fault, that kind of thing. And that's not who I am, and I know it was not their fault, either of these situations. So Wyatt on Friday, I got called in around 1 o'clock because he was really upset and he was inconsolable and they didn't know how to help him. Wyatt's a very sensitive kid. I've talked about it before. Some of you guys hated on me saying that I was a bad parent because I was complaining about my child and that I don't love him because all I do is complain about him. I complain about all my kids sometimes. I'm a mom. They tick me off sometimes, all 3 of them. But Wyatt was a special case for me because he's a very sensitive kid. He's always been that way. It's not a bad thing. It's frustrating, yes, a lot of the times, but I still love him just the same. And I actually have a special place for him in my heart because, you know, I can totally relate to him in some of the ways that he is overly sensitive. But what happened on Friday was that he was in the bathroom that was across the hall from his classroom, and it's like a 2-stall bathroom, and it was his first time using that bathroom because he didn't use the bathroom the first 2 days that he was at school, so this is his first time. And as he says it, when he was coming out of the bathroom stall, a first grader, there were 2 first graders and another kindergartner in there, one of the first graders scared him. Now, we don't know if it was on purpose, we don't know if it was malicious, or if it was just all fun and games, you know, we don't know those things, but it scared Wyatt. And then he got really embarrassed in front of the other kids, and he just lashed out. He started going into defensive mode, you know, kind of kicking and screaming because he was scared. Now, again, you have to remember this is Wyatt's first time in a bathroom situation by himself in a public bathroom. He has never been into a public bathroom. He's only used a private bathroom by himself or with a parent, or he's gone to a public bathroom and stalls with a parent or an adult. So he's never been by himself in this situation. And I don't think that's my fault necessarily, because why would you send a 5-year-old by themselves to a bathroom, a public bathroom? But at the same time, like, you know, nobody saw this coming. So bathrooms are a really scary place. They do have a kindergartner bathroom available around the corner, like literally 20 steps further away than the other bathroom. But because this bathroom's just straight across the hall, a lot of the kindergartners like to use it because it's easier. He melted down. Like, he was scared, he was frightened, and he freaked out, and apparently he lashed out and karate chopped. Not hard. The teacher said it wasn't hard. The vice principal said it wasn't hard, and they didn't think it was aggressive in any nature. But these kids started like freaking out that this little boy was screaming and stuff. And again, we don't know if the first grader purposely tried to scare them or what, or him or what. I'm not placing blame on anybody because I wasn't there, but this is, you know, but Wyatt for some reason got really upset. So everyone tried to settle him down, and he got scared, so he ran and tried to run out of the building to come home to me. And then they tried reading him books, they tried, you know, singing songs, and he just was really upset. So they called me in, and when I got there, he was just sitting on the poor vice principal's chair just crying, and then I started crying. But they weren't mad at him for being physical because he didn't hurt anybody, and again, they didn't think it was intentional or anything like that. He didn't get in trouble. The only reason they called me in was because they couldn't settle him down, and that's why. He's a sensitive kid, and he takes special handling in certain situations. So after I settled him down and after the vice principal left, he finally felt okay opening up to me and talking to me and telling me what happened. And, you know, basically what he said again was that an older boy scared him in the bathroom, and, you know, he just got really upset and scared. So what we worked out from there is we had long conversations all weekend long, because I took him home after that. We had long conversations all weekend long about how you do not lay your hands on anybody. It doesn't matter if you're scared. It doesn't matter if they're, you know, play wrestling, whatever. You don't touch another person. You don't hit somebody else. You don't do any of that, which he knows. But I made sure to let him know that even when he's scared and stuff like that, you don't hit. You go find a teacher. You go find an adult. So again, this is his first experience away from home, away from me in 5 years. This is his first experience at school. This was his first experience in a bathroom. So I didn't blame him. I didn't punish him. I just kept having conversations with him saying that you just don't hit. Again, nobody was upset. Nobody got mad at him. Nobody, you know, punished him or anything like that. He wasn't in trouble, but it was just a very traumatic experience for him. And yeah, so now we went and did the protocol for the single bathroom. So now he's going to use the kindergarten bathroom, and on Monday he did perfectly fine and used the kindergartner bathroom and was happy using it and said that, you know, he liked it a lot better. So, you know, he did really well Monday, but unfortunately Tuesday comes along and he hurts himself. But again, it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. Kids can get hurt on any playground with any kid, and in regards to bigger kids or whatever, he's always going to be around bigger kids. I mean, there was a kid at IKEA that pushed him in front of me. Like, you can't, you know, just keeping him home isn't always the answer. I love people who homeschool. I have nothing against homeschooling, but I'm not, just because of these 2 incidences, I'm not going to yank my kid out of school. And I'm officially a sweaty mess. I'm stinky. I need to go home, take a shower.
Oh, but oftentimes those words get tangled up sing about the magic that was you and me. It's more about them words, over numbers, unencumbered, numbered words. Hundreds of pages, 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 forwards. More words than I had ever heard, and I feel so alive. Oh, and you and I, not so little you and I anymore. And with the silence brings a moral story, more importantly evolving. It's the glory of a boy. 'Cause you and I both love, 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 love what you and I spoke of. And others just read of. And if you could see me now, we're almost finally out of. Well, I'm almost finally, well, I am free.
The test is over 90% accurate and can assist patients, families, and
Kaya, where are we right now?
To the doctor.
We're at the doctor. Wyatt, where'd you go?
scientists believe this could be due to our
Wyatt. Where'd Wyatt go?
Behind the cat.
He's hiding. Alright, Wyatt, let's go.
It broke, and he got uncontrolled by the robot arm. And then the little girl she won the fight.
Kaya's giving a thumbs up to Wyatt's storytelling. So we are gonna go see an pediatrician because our pediatrician seems to think that there might be a fracture in his arm. She just wants to make sure. So we're just waiting right now for them to call over.
Delivered to Kaya, and then it destroyed, and then it had this knife.
What? So our doctor's office is actually right next to the orthopedic that they want to send us to, but the office is on lunch, so we're gonna try to kill some time. And we're eating, so we're gonna kill some time over here because we live 30 minutes away from here. So hopefully they can get us in and they'll call us before we're done eating lunch. If not, there's a great Clips next door, which John and Wyatt need to get their haircuts for this weekend. So yeah, we're just killing time and waiting to be seen by the orthopedic. You got corn chowder
with shrimp.
Oh, I want to try it. Yeah, corn chowder with shrimp.
Yeah, there's shrimpies in there.
Can I take a spoonful? There's plastic on your spoon still.
Where? Right here?
There, yeah. Is it hot?
Probably not that hot anymore.
That's really good, but it's hot.
Is it
That's
hot?
good.
Should I dip something in it?
No, I don't like it. What'd you get, Kaya? Macaroni?
Go show.
Oh.
Cheese overload?
Sure, I'll open it. We are now at the orthopedics office. And Wyatt is tired of having a hurt arm and wishes he had 3. We just finished up at the orthopedist office, and I'm super happy that our pediatrician sent us there immediately because somebody broke their elbow. And Wyatt is feeling so much better. He has a full cast that goes all the way up to his shoulder, and he picked Spider-Man red, and he did so well during his x-rays, and he feels so much better now, huh? Yeah, so he might have had to have surgery, but luckily the break wasn't that bad or hadn't moved yet. But if we wouldn't have brought him in and it wouldn't have been casted, then it could have moved and he would have had to have surgery.
Mommy,
so,
Mommy, don't forget the Iron Man red too.
yeah, it's Iron Man red too. So he has to keep the cast on for 4 to 6 weeks. We're coming back next week for a checkup to get more x-rays done because if it does move before then he will have to have surgery. So we're crossing our fingers that that doesn't happen. But we're just so happy that we have answers and Wyatt's feeling better. Anyway, so we are done. It is now 3:52. We started all this doctor's appointments and stuff around, I think, 11:20. I came home from kickboxing and Wyatt was not feeling any better. The swelling had not gone down in his fingers and he didn't seem right. The ER told us to wait 5 days, and I'm not blaming the ER. But they had told us to wait 5 days to see if, he had gotten better and then go see our doctor. But he just wasn't, he just was in pain. Like, he was screaming. He was in pain. So
Even after she showed us the break, I was like, I had to like kind of squint and look a little closer.
I saw it on the first x-ray. The dark haziness that she pointed out. The second one I couldn't. But what ended up happening was we So I called the pediatrician's office, and luckily they're like, well, we can get him in 40 minutes. Well, again, we live almost half an hour away, so I didn't shower. I haven't showered. I feel disgusting right now, but it was important to get Wyatt in, especially as soon as possible, since we kept him home from school. So we rushed over there, and then she immediately was like, yeah, something's wrong. This is, you know, he's obviously in a lot of pain. I think something's broken. And luckily the orthopedist was able to see us. She called us, and we killed like 3 hours of time here on this end of town just so we could go see him. And she was really, really nice, and it was immediate. Like, she was sent the x-rays from the ER, and immediately she came in, she goes, so yes, something's broken. She's like, we need to take more x-rays to figure out, you know, what's going on. She goes, his elbow's broken. Which to me I thought was really weird, because the ER didn't even ask about his elbow. They didn't do anything to like turn his arm. I mean, it makes sense now in my head, because whenever you turn his arm this way, that's when he would scream bloody murder or try to straighten it out. But the ER doctor and the PA or physician's assistant didn't even do any of that or try to manipulate his arm in any way. So they didn't even look at the elbow. But the orthopedist, after seeing the x-rays, was like, yeah, I can see an elbow break. So we had to get x-rays done because she wanted to make sure that, you know, the break hadn't moved. I guess, like I said a few seconds ago, if it moved or if it was really bad or if it needed to be reset, then that would mean surgery, which John, I think both of us, our stomachs just like fell. Like, I felt sick. The second she said surgery, I just felt sick to my stomach. So Wyatt wanted me to take him back to get his x-rays done. So luckily they had an x-ray machine there. So we went back, got the x-rays, and luckily the doctor came back and said, we can fix this in the office. It's gonna mean a shoulder, you know, up to shoulder cast, a full cast on, 4 to 6 weeks of healing. And like I said, we'll check back next week, and hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers and I'm gonna make Wyatt be very good. Hopefully nothing worse happens, and we can not have surgery, because that's the biggest concern now, is if it can move in the cast. We just have to be very careful. And yeah, John's going back into the pediatrician's office to thank them, because honestly, like, we didn't feel like anyone at the emergency room really believed us, and because they were so blasé about it, and because they were like, oh, just give her Tylenol, it's just a deep bruise, like, that made me feel like he was overreacting. You know, when you have a doctor and a radiologist and a PA and a, you know, at a pediatric hospital, like, we went to a pediatric hospital for this, but when you have all those people telling you, like, it's not a big deal, it's not a big thing, you know, you kind of, you know, I don't know, I just, as a parent, was kind of like, okay, well, I want to care about him, and I want to protect him, and I want to believe him, but at the same time, if all these other people were telling me there's nothing wrong, like, there's, you know, what do you believe? So I'm really happy that I took him in today, because I mean, it could have been so much worse. Like, the orthopedist is basically like, yeah, if you would have brought him in later, it could have been worse, and we would have had to do surgery. So I'm just so relieved that we finally have answers. I'm so relieved that Wyatt feels better, and I feel so terrible. I apologize, like, left and right to Wyatt, because I just felt so terrible that I didn't, like, push harder at the hospital, or I didn't, like, I don't know, I just feel bad that I wasn't more proactive last night when we went. You know, I just kind of was like, okay, you're right, you know, the x-rays didn't show anything, blah, 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 blah. So luckily, though, he's fine. He's very happy with his cast. He picked Spider-Man red, and hopefully I can get his shirt on him. I was thinking, oh, we have a wedding this weekend. Now I'm gonna have to figure out some other shirt, because I got him a button-up, so I don't know if it'll fit over his cast, but I don't really care. I'm just happy that he's situated, and yeah. So there was our fun parenting adventure today, and yesterday, but yeah, I'm just happy he feels better, and I'm so happy we have answers. Like, that's my biggest thing, is I'm just so happy that I don't have to, like, have this internal fight of whether or not I'm, you know, he's overreacting or it's something serious. Like, I'm just, because that was my biggest thing that I was struggling with all of this morning and all of last night, was, am I overreacting, or is he overreacting, or, you know, should I be more concerned or shouldn't I? So I'm just, like, happy that I don't have to feel that way anymore. How you feeling, buddy?
Good.
You happy? Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, you're happy. I'm happy. We're happy. So there is our parenting adventures for today, and I'm gonna let you go because we're gonna go home and, you know.
So long story short, never have any kids.
Yeah, never have any kids. No, just, you know what? I think the lesson of the story is keep pushing and be proactive. I was just saying how, like, I'm so relieved to not have to have that internal struggle today of, do I believe him or do I not, or am I overreacting, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I'm just so happy that I don't have to do that anymore. Like, I don't know, but just be proactive for your kids. Like, be proactive. I feel like, well, if you guys followed us what was it, 2 years ago when Kaya was a newborn and she had RSV, and the emergency room and everyone else kept turning us away until finally somebody caught that she had RSV and that was on breathing treatments. Like, you know, you have to be proactive for your own kids, because not all the time do people see what happens. I don't know how to explain it. You know your kids the best, so just be proactive for them, because not all the time do people either do their jobs properly, or maybe they just miss something, or maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't blame the emergency room. I'm not mad at them. I kind of wish they would have been more thorough, I guess, and I wish that we wouldn't have had to, I don't know, push it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not mad. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just happy it's all fixed, and so relieved for our pediatrician and our orthopedist for seeing us today. Like, so relieved. So, anyways, just be proactive for your kids. That's the lesson today. That's the lesson today. So we're gonna let you go, because we gotta go home and show off Wyatt's new cast to my mom, and I gotta text my friends and family and tell them everything that happened, because everybody's like, let us know, and yeah, we will talk to you guys all later. Bye. Oh, you know what? Wyatt wanted to say thank you for everybody. You know, everybody's been wishing you well on Instagram and Facebook. They've been saying, we hope Wyatt feels better, and sending you nice messages. Yeah. What do you have to say to them?
Thank you.
So we will see you guys all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.